Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Zone podcast. My name is Nate Cohen. I am joined by my co-host Riley Davis. And man, what a week it was! College football. Hey, man, we say this every year that we go into a week and we're like, man, week five. This is week five, right? Oh
This is
no,
week six.
it's week six. We're like, man, week six looks kind of like eh. Like when we were previewing last week, we only talked about like two or three games, and then week six exploded on itself here with like just countless ranked teams losing. We have the number one and two of the preseason poll unranked at this point in time. Probably the biggest upset of the last like 10 or 15 years, happening in Los Angeles. And I mean, it was a what a week it was. But Riley, how are you doing? How have you been for the last week?
Been chilling. I thought that maybe because we had a bye week, that meant I would watch more college football or get to watch more college football. But no, of course not, because why would I? So that's always really fun. But I did get to watch more than I usually do, which is great. Um,
More
but
insight.
yeah, thank goodness, bro. I literally, it's such a, I mean, I love my job, right? I like it a lot. I have a very fun time, but it's low key a bummer that like I get to just look at scores of games and I'm like, well, that would have been cool. Anyways, but it was good. Good solid week. I'm nervous for next week. We'll probably talk about that later, but hopefully the bye week went well for the team and that next week is gonna be good. Yay. How are
Yeah,
you,
we had
Nate?
two of our three teams on bye. I'm doing
I
great. I
know.
had a great weekend. I am just chilling, doing doing good right now. Got a nice hate watch out of the way on Saturday afternoon, and a good hate watch in on Saturday night as well. So a good weekend for the hate watching. And not a massive news.
I don't
Not
think
massive.
so.
I mean, okay. No, there was one pretty funny piece of news. Paul Feinbaum considered leaving ESPN to run for U.S. Senate in the state of Alabama. And
Saw
then
that.
today it got
Forgot
announced
about that.
that Disney kicked him off the air because of it. I don't know if they actually went through with it because apparently his show was supposed to be today. I don't watch him because I think he's kind of annoying, but um, yeah, they pulled him off the air today.
Disney's been polling everybody, bro.
Well, this one, yeah, we're not gonna go too much into why Disney pulled him because it's kind of politically charged, and that's not what this podcast is talking about. The day that hell freezes over is the day that either of us will talk about anything overtly political other than just making a quiet joke here or there on this
I
podcast
was
or
gonna say we've
saying that
minorly talked about it.
we've minorly talked about it, but it's been to the extent of guys, human rights violations bad, and then
What? No
we
way!
we wait for everyone to give us our flowers for saying that, and then we don't talk about it anymore. Or I guess I made the joke about Army throwing trash in trash cans in DC, but I wouldn't. That was funny. That was funny. Also, they lost to Tarleton State. I felt that it was warranted.
Tarleton
Um,
State. Good Lord.
yeah,
What a
forgot
what
that
a.
Matt
I was gonna
forgot that
say I
that
forgot
happened
that
this
that
year
happened.
because they
Jesus.
lost to Tarleton State in week zero, and then they beat Kansas State like the next week.
Good times.
Or I guess 2 weeks from then, because week one was when they almost lost to North Dakota. Um, but hey, man, just Paul Feinbaum going the Bruce Pearl slash um, Tommy Tuberville route of football to Senate. He'll probably win,
Wasn't
but
didn't also what was his name? The Georgia guy. Didn't he go out for Senate or something?
oh yeah,
What is his name?
Bo 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 Walker,
Hold
no,
on. That's not his name.
Not Bo Jackson. Sorry, I know he's like a massive player,
I
like
know.
big time, and I don't give a shit about Georgia, so I don't know.
Marshall? Wait. Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker, right? Yes, yes. Um, hey man, if Feinbaum running for Senate in the state of Alabama is what gets him off the air, and I don't have to hear him hot take for 6 hours a week, then you go do that, man. You go fill that fantasy and go do that. Um, but moving on to the rankings,
Are we
and
speedrunning this
man,
week or no?
no, we can talk about it. We bullied the AP poll. We did it. They
And
made a
it
good
worked.
rankings. This is like the best rankings that they've come up with this whole season, I would say. There's like not a lot I disagree with. Good job, AP poll. You get a gold sticker.
A gold sticker.
I would
We ended
even
up,
move them up. I would move them up the chart a little.
oh Lord. We ended up talking about like, jeez, for audio listeners. Are you okay? Nate is
Fuck
currently
me.
dying. Oh
God
my
damn.
God. Are you
Ugh.
okay? I didn't even
No.
know because like there's nothing I could fill that with because it was just sudden drop off of talking. Anyways, um, Nate just like had a coughing fit. Um, but hope he's okay as he's handling that. Um, one thing we did talk about this week, good Lord, what was I even gonna say? Was just the fact that there was only one addition, like suggestion of a team that should enter the AP poll, which was ODU, Old Dominion.
Well, hold on. Oh, I guess I did say that I thought they should be ranked.
Yeah.
I'm taking that back. I think they should receive votes.
Okay,
They will
but
event. I
just
think
get
they
more
should eventually get
recognition.
ranked. Yeah. I mean, like
Well, because so far they're not getting anything. Who is still getting stuff? Texas is still getting a considerable number.
North. Well, I mean, obviously,
Oh,
but
that is other. Never mind. Keep going.
um, I mean, I have a lot of love for Old Dominion. I'm a Norfolk boy. If anyone, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've said that multiple times. I was born and raised in Norfolk, Pungo area in Virginia, and lived in Charlottesville for 4 years. So I got a lot of soft spots for those Virginia teams like Old Dominion, UVA, William and Mary, VMI. Um, So hey, I'm glad to see Old Dominion doing well, and also I'm glad to see them doing well because it makes IU's win against them look a lot better. And we'll talk about Illinois winning this week and why that's also good for IU, um, and why a certain ranked team losing is just the most poetic thing that could have happened to us. But yeah, no, I do think Old Dominion should start getting a little bit more credit. I mean, they just beat the shit out of Coastal Carolina, who, as of like 2 or 3 years ago, was still considered to be like a perennial Group of Five powerhouse. Um, so I think they should be getting a lot more respect than they're getting at the moment. They got a good program down there. They do a lot of good stuff, and they're beating the teams they need to beat. I would put them in the Group of Five conversation. I mean, they're not getting the respect they deserve, but I'd put them with Memphis and USF. I think those are
Mhm.
probably the three best Group of Five teams right now.
Well, especially since like I don't know, like teams of like that are typically held to like higher standard of like in the rankings or just like in general, like conference wise, like consistently we've talked about like that don't beat the teams that they need to beat, and so it's like I don't know, like there's teams that like aren't getting the recognition that can do that, and it's you know
Are you trying to make the argument that the AP voters aren't tapped into Sun Belt football?
I think there's a chance.
No way. Man, they're missing out. If you ain't watching Sun Belt Fun Belt on a Wednesday night, then what the hell are you doing with your life? I say that as a Georgia State fan, kinda, because Atlanta based and personal information I will not give out to the unwashed masses of this channel. Um,
Unwashed masses.
but hey, people who know me know why Georgia State. I have a soft spot for Georgia State. Um, but hey, Sun Belt, Maction, the Group of Five football is grassroots. It's what keeps the cogs turning, in my opinion. I think I think America runs on Maction.
What a quote. Is that the quote this week? Is America runs on action?
If I ever run for president, that's what my slogan's gonna be.
Amer Okay, go ahead, man.
America runs on Maction.
Any
Everyone
more
knows.
words on that? Okay.
Fuck no. If the people who would vote for me would know what I'm talking about. I just finished Succession, and there's the plot line. Have you watched Succession?
Mm-mm.
You should. Incredible show. All of the characters are so unlikable, but
Kieran
it adds
Culkin's in that, right?
he is in it. His character is such a dirt bag in that show. I love him. There's a plot line where one of the siblings tries to run for president, and it's kind of across all four seasons of the show.
What is the show
And
even about?
he's a separate case. If you've seen Succession, you know who I'm talking about. But I would have a similar. I mean, I wouldn't run similar to him because he's insane and an awful person. But he like gloats about having like 0.1% of a vote or something at one point during the show, and that would just be me with the diehard college football fans who would vote for me because I made a campaign based on Maction. Anyway, talking about the rankings, um, the top is the same. Ohio State, fine with me. Miami jumps Oregon, also fine with me, even though Miami really tried their hardest to grab defeat out of the jaws of victory against Florida State. Ole Miss stays the same. A&M and Oklahoma swap 5 and 6. Indiana wins the bye week and gets promoted up one spot, which crucially is good because this year, I don't know if you've seen this, every single time the number 8 team in the country has played, they've lost, which is a little scary because now the number 8 team in the country is Alabama.
Alabama.
So I really hope we get rid of that trend against Missouri. But look at my teams. My teams ranked together here 7 and 8.
Aw, how
I know
cute.
they're together. And Texas Tech up 2-9. So pretty much from here on to 19, I'm not really gonna say that how much they raised by because
It's just like
um,
a bunch of moving because of people falling.
everyone moved up because of Texas and Penn State dropping out of the rankings, which is
Yeah.
insane. I did not think the AP poll voters would have the balls to unrank Texas and Penn
Literally
State,
my thoughts as well, bro. I
but
literally
it's
was
the
like,
right decision. It is
it is.
100% the
It
right decision.
100%, but I was like, it's never
Both,
gonna happen. I was like, oh, Texas will still be
that's what
top
I was
10.
saying.
Nope.
Well,
Ugh.
okay, I wouldn't go that
Top
far.
10 would be crazy.
I
But
thought
like,
Texas would be in the 20s. I thought they would be given the
yeah.
Alabama treatment from the first week where they dropped us down to like 21.
And then they're like next week,
Um,
they're like, oh, they won.
but I mean, if you've watched Penn State and Texas this year, is what the two of us have been saying. Like this entire year, the two of us have been saying that Penn State and Texas are frauds and they're not playing like a good football team right now. And then what happens? They both get exposed this week and now they're unranked. It's
Exposed against
glorious.
teams that you're like never expecting there to be like, hello, it was Florida. We talked about DJ Lagway throwing 5 interceptions in a game one time. Like, hello,
To be
except
fair
he
though,
looked really locked in.
we did talk about how DJ Lagway versus Arch Manning was going to set quarterback play back by like a decade.
But he looked way
Um,
better this game. I look,
but
he
yeah,
was like, damn, crazy
Tennessee,
stuff.
LSU at 11, Tennessee at 12, Tech at 13, winning the bye week and moving up 4 spots. Missouri at 14, Michigan at 15, Notre Dame at 16, Illinois at 17, BYU at 18, UVA at 19. Vanderbilt drops 4 after losing to Bama. Arizona State up 4. Iowa State drops 8 after losing to Cincinnati in 22. And then Memphis and USF enter the top 25. And Florida State is 25th, dropping 7. Um,
USF
and
is
I
back
said
again.
they are. I said that there was one thing I would change. I would unrank Florida State. Um, I know. They looked really good in the fourth quarter against Miami, but that was more due to Miami collapsing in on itself than Florida State looking really good, and they have looked pretty bad the last 2 weeks. So I would unrank them, and I would have ranked Cincinnati. But that's just me. Um, But yeah, a lot of movement. Really happy Illinois is back into the top 20 because it makes our win against them look really good. And as I was alluding to earlier, it is so poetic and ironic that to this Indiana team that has been fighting for respect for the last 2 years with everyone saying we hadn't played anyone, that one of the marquee games on our schedule, which was at Penn State, is now against an unranked opponent. That could only happen to us. I don't know who else that could happen to. We had been talking the whole year about how Penn State was like the big game of the year, and now they fell off a cliff and they're unranked. That's not our fault. And I know that if Penn State's
So
season
now you don't have
collapses
anybody.
because we play them, Penn State has a god awful schedule coming up. They have a respite this week against Northwestern. God forbid if they lose that game. But then they have to play at Iowa, which is no one ever feels good coming out of at Iowa. Then they have to play at Ohio State, and then they get Indiana at home. And there's a high chance they could be walking into that game 4-4 and unranked, and that's not going to be our fault. And then no one's going to give us respect again. It's insane. I can't believe this keeps happening to us. Like last year, yeah, our non-con sucks, and our non-con sucked again this year. But when we played Nebraska, they were 5-1, and they finished 6-6. We played Michigan and Washington, who were both in the national championship last year. Michigan State was projected to be a pretty decent team, and then they all sucked. It's not our fault. It's conference play wise, it's not our fault. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. I can't believe it keeps happening to us. Um, But also a little fun thing that happened with the playoff projections that if the season ended today, Georgia would have to play at Indiana in the playoffs in the first
Should be
round.
really funny.
If we beat them, when I tell you, if we beat Georgia, you would see unprecedented levels of ego off of I would like Indiana could have gotten like smacked like 66 nothing in the next game after beating Georgia in the playoffs. You would not hear the end from me. I would
Yeah,
be
I
I would
know,
be
which is
giving
why I
people
would literally
shit.
be, that would be my worst nightmare. I'm not even gonna lie. I'd be like, I'm
I
so
would
sorry, I'm
be
sick this week. I can't
I would
speak.
be
I'm not coming in.
insufferable. I would be
Yeah,
insufferable if IU
100%.
beat Georgia in the playoffs.
And I'm
There would
also
be
like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that would happen. Like, I don't know. It's probably my own
Hey
SEC
man, you have
bias,
not
but
watched a
like,
single minute of Indiana football this year. You cannot say that. I
I'm
know
saying,
for a
I just
fact
said it's probably my SEC bias. Hello.
you
I
fucking
literally just
SEC fans
I
always
just
trying to
said this.
downplay our
Hello.
accomplishments.
Why is this man is freaking out over something I already stated? I literally was like, it might be my SEC bias. He's like, that's
That's
fucking
bad.
ridiculous.
That's bad. That is ridiculous.
Ugh.
I don't
But
I
who
don't
knows?
have
If y'all ended up playing Georgia in the playoffs, I guess we'll have to replay this clip and see what happens because that would be interesting to see. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think I think it would probably be a pretty good game. I don't think we Indiana could win if it was in Sanford. Don't get me wrong, but if it's in Memorial Stadium, I think our chances go up a little bit more. I would put it at 50-50. Having watched both teams simply because Indiana throws the ball pretty well, and as established, Georgia's secondary has been kind of mid this year. Um, and we have a really good running game, and they have a pretty decent run defense. I actually could be really interesting, especially because I also think our secondary's been kind of mid this year, and like the way that Georgia has had to beat people this year is through the passing game. So actually now that I'm saying it, I actually really want to see what would happen if Indiana played Georgia because I think it's a really fun
Well,
matchup. Like like in boxing when people say styles make fights,
hmm
that's a real styles make fights kind of matchup there.
what was
So
your
I'd want to
like?
see it. I'd want to see it.
Well, because remember last year it was almost gonna be there was gonna be a possibility of Alabama playing Indiana.
Yeah, we
Like
no, it
at the
literally
yeah yeah.
after one of the weeks it was Indiana Alabama.
So like that's my
We would have
new
kicked the shit out of
proposition.
that Alabama team.
No,
Now
I'm
now
talking about
now
this year's
knowing what we
Alabama
know.
team.
I know. And by the way, speaking on SEC bias, I just want to give a shout out to the Barstool Texas Twitter account, which after I know it's Barstool, they're a bunch of clowns, but like um after the AP poll rankings of last week when we were ahead of Texas, they tweeted that and said we'd legitimately beat IU by 70, and then they proceeded to lose to Florida. So
Which is hilarious. I have my own thoughts about Texas that I'll like
I think I
say
my
later, but
favorite picture on Twitter right now is it's one where it's like another hypothetical win to the SEC because nothing SEC fans love more than hypothetically saying that they will beat every single team in the country. Like every single SEC fan is like, man, if Indiana played SEC schedule, and I'm like, if is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
hey, I will say to back up the SEC people, Texas is not the team to be like we would smack them. Like so
Especially
sorry.
like
If I were to make that argument for anybody in the SEC, Texas would not be on my list. I'm so like
I
they
don't think
wouldn't
any
be.
team in the SEC beats IU by 70.
Not by 70, no. But I would think of some that could. Not by
Yeah,
70,
I
but
mean, I think I think currently in the SEC there's one, two, kind of three, because I don't really know how to count Oklahoma right now. Because like, do you count them as fully healthy or the state they're in at the moment? Because if it's fully healthy, I would probably count them as a team that could beat Indiana. But if they're still playing their backup, then I think we beat them.
fair
I
enough.
don't count Bama. I don't count Georgia. I don't count LSU. I don't count Tennessee. Yeah, I think there's like four or five teams in the SEC right now that I would say have a good chance of beating Indiana.
Fair enough.
Four, like four
Not
that I
counting
would say are
Bama and
like,
UGA.
yeah, I would say there's four
Okay.
that would be overwhelming favorites in the betting line. And
Oh, so
like,
this is like four that's like definite or like four that's like extremely
I think it's
probable.
the
And then there's like
four
some
that
maybe.
like, well, yeah, because like I think Bama, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, I wouldn't say they would definitely beat IU. Like I
But there's a
think if
chance,
you
like they have a
played,
chance.
yeah, if you played a game between those teams on a neutral site, I'd probably give the slight edge to Bama and Georgia, not LSU and like Tennessee. I think I'd give the edge to Indiana there. But those are the games that I would say are like 50-50. Where we are at the moment before Georgia fans come bitching at me about me saying that their team is bad. The last time we watched Georgia play, I know they beat the shit out of Kentucky this week, but it's Kentucky. The last time we saw Georgia play a real team, they got their butts kicked for a half and then looked kind of bad in the second half. But I'm just saying where we are at the moment. Don't come at me. Georgia could look a lot better if Georgia like switches the train around and they look a lot better. Then I would say Georgia would probably have a good chance of beating Indiana. But
I
where
mean,
we
hey
are
man,
as
the
of week
Texas
6,
Longhorns, I think could take you guys by 70. I mean, the Longhorns, crazy skill there, crazy quarterback, Arch Manning, man.
crazy quarterback. Oh, he is definitely crazy, just not for the ways that we think. Which
I just shared
I,
that thing this week of like Glenn Powell saying that like Arch Manning could take Texas to the
to
championship,
be
and I was like,
fair though,
oh,
he is a Texas fan.
I know, and I know that's why you said it, but I'm like, damn.
I yeah, rough week for Texas. Rough week for everyone. Apparently that Chad Powers show is not very good. So that's a rough one for Glenn Powell.
Okay,
I saw one
correct
clip
me
from
if
it
I'm
and it made
wrong.
me mad.
That makes sense. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Eli Manning do a
Yeah, it's
bit?
based it's like
Okay,
Ted
I
Lasso because
literally
you
I
know
was
Ted
like,
Lasso is based off a Jason Sudeikis bit that he did on like SNL.
so they just did. Okay, I
It's
was
the
like,
same thing, yeah.
okay, because I was like Chad Powers. I was like,
The
that's the
only
name of
thing I've
that
seen from
show.
it is a clip of Georgia winning the national championship and like one of the most like ridiculous quarterback runs I've like ever seen in my life. Which like I
I
know
just
trying to
can't take the makeup they
criticize,
put him in. Like seriously, he looks like a 50-year-old man, and they're like, this is
I
a
think that's
college
kind of the
quarterback.
point.
But I thought the whole point was like he's trying to relive his college glory days, but they
Well,
made
I
him
think
look older.
in the initial skit, Eli also looks kind of stupid. Like he
No,
also
yeah,
looks
he
like
does.
he's in
It's
his
like the same
50s.
exact makeup, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it is almost like the exact same. But anyway, that's not related to games.
No.
Which we can get into now. I guess I'll go because I was the only one who had a team play this week. Oh man, Diego Pavia. He sucks. He's so bad. Oh man, did you see that game? Oh, he played so badly. Man, I what a game. What a win for Bama. I will say, during the first half, I was geeking. I was geeking hard during the first half. I was about ready to commit harmful acts on myself because Bama wasn't playing very well. It just looked like an extension of the Bama Vandy game from last year. And like Vandy's running game was doing really well. Their stupid dink and dunk trick play bullshit was winning again. They kept doing those shovel passes that worked last year. Um, but I took a step back yesterday and realized that if I wasn't in my own head as much as I was, Vandy probably played their best football in the first half, minus the Pavia fumble, and we played kind of our worst, and we were still tied. So in the second half, it made sense when we kind of just put the foot on their throat. And like the score looks like it was close, but I think if you watch the second half, you would know that like scoreline does not do the game justice, especially in the second half.
Hey, I
We
thought they
dropped
were
a
gonna hold out still a little bit.
we
But
dropped a train on them in the second half.
watching the last couple freaking drives from Vandy, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I was like
Pavia,
watching Pavia. I was like, what in the world is going
he
on?
was bad.
Like I
He
was
was bad.
like throwing an interception and then like a turnover on downs. Like after the next drive, I was like, buddy. Ugh.
Um, I just want to say, beating them and also beating Johnny Manziel, who was on the sideline, was an incredibly cathartic experience for someone whose first game that he fully remembers watching was the Johnny Manziel game. And I remember being 6 years old and crying under my recliner in my house in Charlottesville for like 30 minutes, like wrecking sobs because I had watched Johnny Manziel beat Alabama. By the way, before you make fun of me, I was 6.
And they say
And
men aren't in touch with their emotions.
I was so sad. And then the last year's uh Vandy game, which is one of my least favorite football games ever. That was really cathartic. I also want to say to Diego Pavia, if you're gonna talk this much shit, please back it up. And also, secondary, if you're gonna talk all this shit, please be able to take it. Like he got into a argument, like a heated argument with a Bama fan after the game. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't really like I like shit talking football players, but when like a grown man is shit talking college students, I'm usually on the side of the college students. Pavia's like 26, so I don't really care. And also he was acting like a bitch. So, yeah. I
He's
I
24.
don't like he is like bad game from Pavia. I mean, I will say, I'll give Vandy credit. As much as I hate Vandy, I'll give them credit. I think they're a legit football team. They played really well in the first half, and, in the second half, they played like shit. But, like, I think they're legit. I don't think this is a fluke. And, like, I hate Pavia, but he is a good quarterback. He just played very poorly against us, which was nice.
I mean, they
Um,
probably got like, I wouldn't say they're sitting pretty, but like, they're probably gonna be fine going in because they're going into a
um,
bye, and then they
they
have a
go,
home
yeah.
game for LSU and Missouri. So like, they're probably
I
like,
think
it's
they're probably
probably
going
a
to
chance to
lose
prove
to
themselves.
LSU, lose to Missouri, lose to Texas. I think they have a rough stretch coming up, especially with like
Texas
Texas. I think Texas they could win, but I'm giving Texas the benefit of the doubt that
of it being
they
a home
will
game.
right their ship. Yeah.
I just feel like
I think
going
they'll
into
beat
a bye
Auburn,
and then
beat
like double
Kentucky.
ranked, like a back-to-back rank matchup after a bye week at home. I feel like, especially if they're coming off of a loss to Bama, they might.
But Riley, you fail to mention this when you talk about Vandy playing at home. Vandy doesn't have a home. You went there last year. You know that that home
It was
stadium
under
does not
construction.
count.
They're
It's
building
never
it.
good. When
They're
has Vandy ever
building.
had home support?
They got
I
the
know you could say like
anchor
Vandy
down.
isn't good. I know you could say Vandy's never been good, but I don't like their stadium is always overrun by the opposing fan base. I think that'll
This is
probably end
true.
up happening again. Um,
Last year when
but
we
like I
like
think Vandy,
actually like kicked their ass, it was their homecoming
yeah,
and the
I
stadium
think
was empty by halftime.
I'm gonna give Vandy the benefit of the doubt and say like 8-4 or 7-5. Assuming that I think 8-4 is if they pick up one of those LSU, Missouri, or LSU, Missouri, or Texas games, which I think they probably can pick up at least one of those. Just against who is kind of
I
the
mean, I
the
would probably
question.
give them Missouri and Texas.
I wouldn't give them Missouri because I think Missouri's really good. It's why I'm like really scared about the Bama game this week.
Fair enough.
Um, I could see them getting LSU. I honestly think they have a better chance of beating LSU than they do Missouri
Missouri. Interesting. I mean,
because I
because we
think
have talked about
Missouri's
how
a better
LSU
team.
isn't as good as they have been, or like we're expected to be as well.
They don't have an offense.
Yeah. I mean, Miss
Um,
Myers got some good
he's been kind of
stats.
mid this year. But I do want to just give a few more credits to Bama players who I thought played really well. Jam Miller had, I think it was like the first time an Alabama running back has ran over 100 yards, or like any Alabama players ran over 100 yards. Or I guess running back, because I think Milrow did it a few times. Since like 2023, I thought he was incredible, going 22 for 136 and a touchdown. I thought Ryan Williams is slowly starting to get his mojo back. Went 6 for 96, 6 for 98 and a touchdown. And I think it was said a few times on the broadcast by Greg McElroy and Sean McDonough, and I thought it was a little bit of glazing. However, I don't think there's many quarterbacks playing better than Ty Simpson right now.
They were talking
And
about him a
I
lot.
I think you can count on one hand the amount of quarterbacks better than Ty Simpson. And if I'm being honest, I think you can probably only use two of your fingers. I think Dante Moore over at
Lenoris
Oregon.
Sel no.
No. Dante Moore over at Oregon and maybe Marcel Reed, but I don't really rate him. He's
Hey
good,
man,
but I wouldn't say he's better than Ty Simpson.
what about Arch
Um,
Manning? What about Arch Manning?
Arch Manning can go fuck himself.
Oh
Um,
damn, he's just a kid, Nate.
just kidding. We have weirdly like at least maybe me weirdly has been a Arch Manning supporter this year
I mean,
because I
because
feel like
he is like,
I
I
keep
just think
saying
he's in the wrong position.
we'll talk about it when we get to the Texas game. But I feel like the two of us have weirdly like I know we shit talk him because it's funny, but I feel like we always end up finishing by saying like he is still good, like he'll right the ship eventually. But I don't know
I
how
just
long
think
we can keep saying that
he's
because
not a
we've been saying that after like
quarterback.
every week since the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And but I do want to say shout out Joel Klatt with an absolute banger of a line where he said, "If Ty Simpson's last name was Manning, we would be already giving the Heisman to him. Like if his name was Ty Manning, which I don't think he's too far off. I mean, Ty has been incredible this year. He had his first interception of the year, which was very bad. It was a pretty atrocious throw on fourth down early in the first quarter. Um, but other than that, some of the throws Ty was making, his ability to be able to switch his hips while scrambling, he did that a few times, especially on the touchdown to Ryan in the first quarter. He did it a few times um, on passes to Germ and Isaiah Horton, but and especially that touchdown pass to Gurmy at the end of the second quarter was a ridiculous throw, like right into the numbers. Vandy kept running cover two, and Ty was just kind of eating it up. Um, I thought the defense played really well. I mean, in the second half, I thought they were a little mid in the first half, but getting turnovers when they needed to, bend but don't break kind of um, defense. I thought this was Keon Sabb's best game he's had in a very long time. Justin Jefferson, I know that he's going to get overlooked because of the games that Keon Sabb had, but I do want to give a shout out to Justin Jefferson, who had 14 tackles and a sack and a tackle for loss. He had an incredible game. I thought he's honestly been one of our better players this year. He just isn't getting the love that as many other people are getting. Um, Another shout out to Ryan Grubb for once again running a play to Caden Proctor, who ran for a first down at a point in the game and on a fullback dive. I like how that's just kind of becoming a thing we do now. Um, and yeah, I thought Ty was incredible. I thought the defense played really well. They did a good job of stopping Pavia, who does play a very Pavia plays a type of style that Alabama struggles with, which is just being a mobile quarterback. That's why
Hmm.
I'm a little scared about Sellers, despite South Carolina's lack of an offensive line. Um, it's just because Sellers plays a very kind of similar game to Pavia.
He likes
Um,
to run.
yeah, and I think with those types of quarterbacks, and like I don't want to like preview the South Carolina game because that's in like 3 weeks, but assuming that everything stays the same, if we just make Sellers pass the ball, he can't beat us. It's kind of the thing that happens with a lot of these quarterbacks. And like that's not really on Sellers, but like if we make him pass, that means that the offensive line is doing a lot of work. And you have gone into great detail this year about South Carolina's lack of an offensive line. So,
I will
um,
say, like, what this game this week has made me think of the most. I mean, yeah, this game is in 3 weeks, but that's literally like all I've like my main like thoughts from this game. Obviously, because I'm always worried about us, but as like I don't know how to feel. I guess like I'll like LSU get after the LSU game and after the Oklahoma game. Like going into that week, I'll like have a better understanding of where we are at, and I'll probably be like, "Oh, we're gonna lose," or "We have a chance." But still, it's like this game has like made me more like scared a little bit for
well,
that,
especially
especially
because
since Vandy came
until
into home and like we did not look good at all, and we did not have a good game. And I'm like, if Alabama started off a little rocky, and now they're getting it back, but they still like held their own against Bama and like Vandy, and then like we couldn't. It's like it's
No,
kind of a
held
scarier
held
matchup.
our own. We kind of shit stomped them in the second half.
I mean, you know what I
Um,
mean? Like
but
showed
yeah,
up. We're able to show up,
especially
and I'm like, we didn't do that. So
I do
it's just
think
a
that
weird place to be.
that game is interesting because going into that, like South Carolina fans need to be like jumping for joy seeing Alabama's schedule going into that game. Our next 2 weeks are at Missouri and then at home against Tennessee. And there is a high percent, not a high percent, but there is a likely percentage that there's a chance Bama loses both of those. Um, and if they lose both of those, they're eliminated from the playoffs. And I don't think they're going to give much of a shit about that game against South Carolina. So I think the only way that South Carolina can win that game, and like we talked about it, I don't know if we talked about it before we hit record, but the only way that I see South Carolina beating Alabama in our current state is if we beat ourselves. Which I know sounds kind of condescending to South Carolina, but the state that they're in and the state that we're in, I think that there's a chance that South Carolina could beat us on merit. However, South Carolina could also lose their next few games, and I don't know.
I mean,
Willie
especially
B's
which
always bumping.
that's supposed to be
However,
homecoming too.
how much is Willie B gonna bump if South Carolina is walking into that game? What do you guys are now like 3-2?
We're 3-2.
Like how much is Willie B gonna be bumping if South Carolina walk in that game 3-4? Because what you guys before that you play
Yeah.
LSU and Oklahoma, right?
hmm
Which
That's
are
what
both
I'm.
losable.
Yeah, that's what I literally just said is like, I mean, unless we have a drastic turn coming off the bye week and are like go into Death Valley and just like in Tiger Stadium and just like freaking hand it to LSU and then like put up a solid performance against Oklahoma at home again like after that. If we don't have two back-to-back like very convincing wins, then the Bama game is scary. If we have very convincing wins heading up into that, which honestly, like, unless there's like a big turn in like how things have been, hello, doesn't seem that likely. But like, I mean, I already said this, and like, and then you said it too, but like, it's literally unless there's like a drastic change in how we've been playing and showing up, then I'm like, probably not gonna win that game, and it's gonna suck.
But that is in 3 weeks.
Yeah, a lot can
But
happen.
I will say great win. This team has done a incredible job bouncing back from that Florida State game. Like if you had asked me after the Florida State game if Bama was going to be back up to 8 by week 6, I would have slapped you silly and called you an idiot. But that does show that does attest to the coaching job that Kalen DeBoer has done this year. And when everyone kept asking me, "Man, do you want DeBoer fired?" I was like, "No." Like I've been sticking with the ship, and it's nice to see that that's panning out. Um, and yeah, so eat shit, Pavia, I
And
guess.
we have no other red zone games to talk about.
Yep. So now we move into the first game of the week, which is Ohio State beating
West
Minnesota
Virginia.
42 to. Oh,
Oh,
right. Yeah, there was a game on Friday. Um,
West Virginia BYU, but West Virginia didn't look that good.
yeah, good job, Mormons. Enjoy your chocolate milk and your
But you bet they
questionable
went hard after that game.
chocolate
They went
milk
ham
and
on the chocolate milk.
chocolate milk and questionable bed stuff.
Mm-mm. No, we don't talk about it on this
We don't
podcast.
mention soaking on this podcast.
No, that doesn't have any place here. That's not the vibes we bring to
Soaking
the
free
table.
podcast.
No.
Red Zone is a soaking free podcast.
Ugh, that sounds so disgusting. Ugh, I.
Hey man, shout out to the Mormons,
It's such a
I
crazy
guess.
concept, too.
It's so
It's
insane.
so
It's
insane.
so insane.
I can't.
I
I
don't
can't wrap my brain around it.
I don't I refuse to believe they actually do it. Until I meet a Mormon that can attest that that actually happens,
See,
I
you know
am
how like
not
there are like
I
those,
think
you know,
it's
those little interviews people do. It's always people at like BYU or like some Mormon school, and
yes.
it's like,
I saw
but
I
like,
saw
it's real. It's real. It's a
I
real
saw
thing.
No, I saw some fucking thing on Twitter the other day, like 2 weeks ago, and it was BYU talking about Utah, and there was some BYU guy who like said like, I hope, man, I hope that Jesus repents Utah from its sins and lets him into the pearly gates of heaven. And some Utah fan quote retweeted it and said, "Why can't our rivals be normal?"
That's funny.
It's just until someone can attest that that is real, and say for instance a Mormon manages to happen by this video and is watching at this point in time,
Comment down below.
confirm whether or not soaking is real. Because I think it's a psyop to make
No,
everyone
I'm
think
pretty sure it's
it
real.
cannot be real.
It's
No, I refuse
real.
to believe it's
Based on
real.
those, you know what interviews I'm talking about.
Those
And
are
literally,
jokes.
no, no,
The
no, 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 no,
chocolate
no.
milk
I'm
one,
talking
the
about,
the
no,
Wubia
not the
Wupia
chocolate milk
one,
one. Wubia.
it it
I'm
has
killing
to be
Bishop.
fake.
No, no, no. It
You don't
wasn't
get
one
you
of
don't get
those.
your own
It
kingdom
was
when
a
you die.
couple. It was a not anymore. It was
You
a
don't
couple, and like
Wupia.
literally, like this guy asked them. They're like, he was like, "Do you guys know what soaking is?" And then they both said, "Yeah." And the guy literally whips his head around, and he goes, "You do?" And he was like, "She was like, yeah." And she was like, he was like, "Good to know," or something like that, or like along
That
those
can't
lines.
be real.
And I was like, "Oh
Like,
Lord."
okay. We both go to big colleges. We both go to
Mhm.
big party scene colleges. We both party. Imagine, so, okay. What the fuck do they do after winning football games? So, like, it's
Not
not
root
like they have a
beers.
bar. It's not like they have a bar scene. Like, do they throw house parties at BYU? Is it lit at BYU? Because they
It's
can't drink
milk.
alcohol.
Milk.
You think they got Yo Plate on like the Yoo-Hoos? You think they got Yoo-Hoos on like lock? You think they'd be
Use,
shotgunning Yoo-Hoos?
bro. We should go.
I
We
had my
gotta
first
go to
Yoo-Hoo this summer.
BYU.
I had my first
Really?
Yoo-Hoo this summer. Those shits suck.
No, it's
It was
not. It's
like
not even
tasting.
chocolate milk though,
No, it's
is
like
the
milk
thing.
water. It's
They
like
can't even
chocolate
legally,
water.
it's chocolate beverage is what it
It's
says
chocolate
because they
drink. Yeah.
legally can't call it milk.
Okay. So if anyone goes to BYU and is watching this podcast or has insider information they would
And they
like to
know.
tell us,
Ugh,
put it in the comment section. Maybe one day the Red Zone will do a vlog in Provo, Utah. And
that seems super likely.
I mean, hey, all I'll say, I kind of, they get, they shout out to them, man. I don't know how to finish that segment.
You just like we're sitting on it, trying to speak. Shout out to them.
It's
Uh,
hilarious. It is. It just,
because okay,
I need to
but
talk
like,
to a real
hear
life
me out.
Mormon. I don't think I've ever met
Hear
one.
me out. Hear me out. Okay?
I'm hearing. I'm hearing. I'm locked in.
If you think it's fake, why on earth would a collective come up with that as a concept and just
Okay,
decide this is
counterpoint.
what people do?
Counterpoint. Cults do that all the time.
But then why would you want
Now,
that
I'm not
rat
saying
being your
BYU's a
cult?
cult.
Okay.
I'm also not saying it. I'm just
Said we're
I'm
not getting
not
it
saying it at
political.
all.
BYU is a cult.
I
Lord.
think Texas A&M's a cult. I don't
Oh,
think that's political. I
100%.
don't think that's political to say.
I don't understand the deal with the boots, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on this podcast.
I think you've said this every single time we've talked about Texas A&M.
Being cold. I don't understand the boots.
Yes.
They just seem so uncomfortable. You have to get them on with like tools, and then you can't take them off without the tools
I
either.
wonder what percentage of the BYU alumni base was okay with their quarterback last year being Jewish. Because aren't
Mm.
they like, you know what? I'm not going to speak on things I don't know. Um, anyway, segueing.
We spent
The
so
Ohio-
much time talking about BYU and no,
I don't think we talked
just
about the game at all.
no, because we said good, good job.
Yeah, honestly, shout out chocolate milk, man. Good drink. I can see why they like it so much.
I was not a chocolate. I was not like in a household where we had chocolate milk growing up,
I only
and I feel
got
like that's
chocolate
not
milk if I
shocking.
was good.
Oh, I feel like that's not shocking that I didn't have like juice or chocolate milk consistently in our house. I was like an organic child.
Okay. Either Google is listening to me or this is not the first time someone's thought of this because I searched up, are there any bars? And the first thing is in Provo.
100%. You know, it's like there's people looking like in their college like search and they're like, can I party here or no? That's what's happening. They're literally like, oh, I have to make sure. Are there?
Prohibition. That's funny.
I think it's somewhere
Provo's in a place called Utah County.
Utah County, Utah.
Yeah.
It's very creative.
Anyway,
What are the
Ohio
other
State beat
counties in
Michigan.
Utah called?
No, Ohio State beat Minnesota 42-3.
Okay.
Who cares? Miami beat Florida 28-22. I mean, we've kind of like
Dang.
roughly talked about this
Hmm.
through the other things, but weird game here. Miami looks
Especially
like
for
the
Florida
best
just
team
to
in the
show up in
country.
the fourth quarter
Miami looks like the best team in the country for three quarters, and then they looked like the worst team in the country for the fourth
and then
quarter.
like FSU just dropped 19 points at the end of the game.
I
Like,
think
hello.
I think that Miami is pretty good. However, they still have Mario Cristobal as their head coach, which means there's only so high they can go. And I do think this is a bad game for Florida State. I know they came back in the fourth quarter. However, I would still
But that
unrank
was,
them.
I was gonna say, didn't you say that's more of a
That's more of a
Miami
Miami thing.
imploding?
And man, Florida State's looking down the barrel of 0-2 in conference, which I don't think is going to get them into the conference game. And I think their whole playoffs have kind of just been assassinated. Um,
Yeah, because didn't
Mike
we say that the
Norvell,
conference was gonna be up to probably
it's going to be
Miami,
Miami versus Georgia
FSU?
Tech, I think.
Probably now for sure.
Now, well, I think honestly before
Well,
as well,
actually, who's at
looking
the
at
top of
Georgia
the
Tech's
ACC
easy
right now?
schedule.
Isn't the ACC right now?
It's like
It's
Miami and Georgia Tech.
there's someone else. I
I
can't
think
believe
it's
I just blanked.
UVA. Yeah, UVA.
Yeah, UVA is at the top
UVA
of
and
the ACC
Duke.
right now. I was literally about to say, I was like, it's not, they're in the people, but
Shout out the
like,
Cavaliers.
yeah, it's UVA, Duke, and then Tech and Miami. Then SMU. Shocking.
Wow, shocking. Oklahoma beat Kent State 44 nothing. Um, I just want to say a bit about this game. I forgot who the Oklahoma player was. Sorry if this is bad journalism. But the Oklahoma player who hit his head against the brick wall
Oh my God,
in the end
yeah,
zone.
that's
Uh,
scary.
that's kind of insane that that's still allowed to exist in a football stadium, knowing
Freaking
how
crazy.
far knowing that like that happens a lot. Keontez Lewis.
TOK, is there
Um,
any update?
yeah, I think it said the tests, like initial tests and stuff, are coming back positive, which is good. How I really hope they change that because it's very outdated and they're like one of the only stadiums in the country that doesn't have padding around
Yeah,
the outside.
it's just not
Um,
safe.
Not safe at all. But they won. It was against Kent State, so it doesn't really count.
Glad he's okay.
Um, Glad he is okay. And then Texas A&M beats Mississippi State 31-9. I don't think A&M's going to get as much credit as they deserve for this. This is a spiny ass Mississippi State team, and I know that this game
Yeah,
wasn't in Starkville, but I mean, hey, first half they looked a little shaky, but turn it on in the second half. Maybe battered Aggie syndrome won't exist this year. Who
I mean, and we've
knows?
talked
But
about
yeah,
Mississippi State too before, like how it can be a trap sometimes, depending.
100%.
And it's
Tennessee
like,
almost lost them last week.
yeah, and being able to like show up. I mean, honestly, solid. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think this
I said
is
it at the beginning, and we said no, but I think probably we also just said that they were a cult. But I'm pretty sure this is the year. Just given how Texas has been doing, Texas
I
A&M is
think
probably not
Texas
going to be
Tech
little brother anymore.
I think A&M's going to make the SEC championship game.
Because aren't
Because
they still at
looking
the
at their schedule for the rest of the year, they play at Arkansas, at LSU, at Missouri. Oh, they play Florida, and then at Arkansas, at LSU, at Missouri, which is a rough. I mean, I think Arkansas is still a neutral site game, but that's a rough 3 game stretch. They'll probably lose one in there potentially, but then they play South Carolina, Samford, and Texas. So, like low key, I could see A&M playing in Atlanta, which would be kind of insane.
fair enough with
I
Ole
think the
Miss,
SEC is
or
super wide open. Yeah, I think it could be A&M Ole Miss.
I mean,
That's
because that's what it is right now.
tentatively what I'm looking at in the SEC, which that'd be a fucking insane SEC championship game.
Especially
Like
because
it
like
would be the
coming out of
first
recent
time.
years when it's just been Bama, Georgia, Bama, Georgia, Bama, Georgia, Texas.
Well,
Like,
yeah, the last champions in the SEC. I'm gonna see how much trivia I can do here. here because I've been going to these games for like 10 years. But you can pull up the SEC championship list, see if I'm correct or not here. But I'm pretty sure the last 10 years have gone something to the tune of Georgia in 24, Bama in 23, 22 was Georgia, 21 was Bama, 20 was Bama, 19 was LSU, 18 was Bama, 17 was not Bama, 17 was Georgia,
No. Yes. Sorry.
LSU. Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, I was at that game.
It's
17 was
Georgia.
Georgia, 16 is Bama, 15 is Bama, 14 is Bama, I think, because that's the first year of the playoff, and that's the year we lose. 13 is Auburn because they beat Missouri. 12 is Bama because they beat Georgia. 11 is LSU. 10 is Florida, I think.
No.
No, it's Auburn. It's Auburn.
Yeah.
9 is
Against
Bama.
us.
9 is Bama. 8 is Florida. 7 is Florida.
Mm-mm.
7 is LSU.
Mm-hmm.
6 is Florida.
Mm-hmm.
5 is I don't see how far I can go now. Five's see now we're in the point where it is just three teams. Like
You
it's
weren't even
some
born.
combination of like it's some combination of LSU, Florida, and like kind of Tennessee, and I guess
No,
Auburn. But I don't
Tennessee
think
didn't
Auburn's
win
up here.
until 1998.
Is it? I don't want to keep saying Florida, but is it Florida in '05?
No,
Is it
it's Georgia.
LSU? Oh
Georgia.
right. '04 is LSU.
No,
Okay, now I don't know.
Auburn,
Um,
LSU, then Georgia,
hey man,
then
I think it's kind
LSU.
of I think it's kind of cool. I got down to '06
No,
before
that's crazy.
running
I
out.
literally I don't understand how like you could remember all these things because genuinely I forget like the easiest shit. And I'm
Let's
like,
just
how am I
say
forgetting things?
my mother took a bunch of Tylenol.
We also said in the beginning of the episode, we're not gonna get political.
That,
I
that's not
took
getting political. That's just making a joke. I'm
Mhm.
not saying anything else about that other than that is something that someone said. Whether that be stupid or not is for the viewers to decide, not for us to
Anyways,
decide.
what I was
Anyways,
gonna say is that just in the recent years, I think is how this started, is that like the same
it's always
teams
been
are
the same team.
present. Yeah, it's always been a combination of Alabama or Georgia, sprinkle in some LSU, maybe a
That's
Florida,
it. No,
and then
that's
like
it.
and then
It's
last year
three teams.
Texas was in the championship, but Georgia
Well, like
still
other
won it.
teams have been in the championship game. Missouri went 2 years in a row.
Hmm.
Um, LSU, yeah, Auburn, Bama, Georgia beat Auburn in 2017. Like the
But it's
second
always
team has
been
changed a
like
little bit,
the
but yeah,
same like yeah, it's been the same.
I know what you're talking about. Anyway, moving on.
So it's gonna be out of nowhere to be a Texas A&M Ole Miss.
To probably the most insane upset in college football over the last decade as Penn State loses 42 to 37 to
To
Nico
UCLA.
Iamaleava and the UCLA, who, by
UCLA.
the way, this podcast
UCLA.
has been you guys, they lost to a fucking FCS team. UCLA
Please
was 0 and
explain it.
4. I'll explain it. Penn State's dog shit, and Drew Aller is
Yeah,
regressed horrendously from last year.
apparently. My
Um,
God.
I am just shocked they didn't Lane Kiffin James. They didn't Kiffin James Franklin on the runway, and like I'm surprised they even brought him back to State College. Um, this year is an abject disaster for Penn State, and it's only been 5 games. They're going to lose. We talked about it earlier, looking at their schedule. There's a high probability to lose 3 of their next 4 games, given that they have to play at Iowa, at Ohio State, and against Indiana. Like Penn State is bad, 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 and they suck, and there's no hope. It's
Nice.
what would you disagree?
No, but it's
Yeah.
just, damn.
um, I UCLA played well. Like this is not. I don't know where this came from or where this has been the whole year. I don't know if this is like good on UCLA as much as it's bad on Penn State, but
It's more bad
UCLA
on
looks
Penn State, I'm
really
not gonna
good.
lie.
I mean, it is, but like Nico Iamaleava had his first really good game. Um, I thought this game was over in the third quarter when Penn State brought it down to 27-21 off of like a blocked punt and like a missed
I
field
think
goal.
most people
And
did.
I was like, oh yeah, here's the Penn State bullshit. But no, they just couldn't stop Nico Iamaleava, which, by the way, New Mexico was able to stop Nico Iamaleava, and they're an FCS team. So
It's just like
just
the fact that they were 0 and
hilarious. It's
4
so
going into
funny.
this makes it way more
It's
funny.
the blue out. It's
It's
undefeated.
crazy. I mean, I think didn't we already talk about did we already talk about UCLA colors on this podcast? I feel like we did.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever talked about UCLA's colors on this podcast.
We every once in a while we
You have
sprinkle
anything
in like
insane to
talking about
say it? I mean, they're just kind of
no, I
they're
just think that
blue.
they're I know, but it's a pretty shade of blue.
Okay,
So
I
many
can co-sign
among all
that.
the reds and dark blues, it's like a pretty blue.
I don't like the yellow though. I don't like the blue and yellow together.
Fair
I think
enough.
their uniforms are kind of ugly.
Well, yeah, the pants are ugly
Pants are very
because
bad.
they're like gold but not.
Yeah. Um, just a disaster for Penn State. I don't think they write their season. I think they fire Franklin at the end of the year. Here's my working theory, by the way, and I've talked this to my dad. I think this is very similar to what happened to Kentucky in basketball the year they mutually agreed to part ways with Calipari. And I think it's going to happen almost in a same way. I think the year is going to end. Penn State's going to finish like 8-4 or 7-5 or 9-3. They're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to mutually agree to part ways with James Franklin, i.e., they fired him. And then I think Franklin's going to go to
They
Arkansas.
fired him mutually.
I think that he's going to go to Arkansas, which is going to complete the Calipari thing because that's where Calipari went. But it's like one of the only major Power Four openings. And I think he already has experience coaching the SEC. He was pretty good at Vanderbilt. It's a low stakes job because who expects Arkansas to do anything? And yeah, I think I could see Franklin ending up in Fayetteville. That's my working theory at the
Arkansas
moment.
makes it to the SEC Championship 2026.
That'd be hilarious.
That'd be literally the
Yeah,
most insane turn of events.
and also what a fall from grace for Drew Aller. Like I know we ended last year talking about how bad he was in that Notre Dame game, but we also went into this year saying that he was a Heisman frontrunner. He has not been good this year, and he was
So
very
many people
bad.
who are supposed to be Heisman frontrunners are not there this year. Hello? Like, or like at least not living up to the potential of being like in contention for the Heisman.
Which is
Arch
an
Manning is the
awesome
prime example.
segue. Awesome segue as Florida beats Texas 29-21. You know what I saw in this game? I saw a
Mhm.
team die in real time. Like, I have never in my life seen a team look that like lifeless. It was depressing watching Texas try and do literally anything in this football
We
game.
talked about Fliff last episode is that I almost bet on Florida just for like
I almost bet on
shits
Florida
and
too.
giggles. And I was like, nah, no way that happens. And it did. So that was crazy. But
Just
still, I was like, damn.
I I don't Arch Manning, man. We said it. We said it. We had been saying that it'll only be time. I'm starting to think that it's not going to be time and he might actually just be bad. He ended up finishing this game 16 for 29 for 263, two touchdowns, two interceptions. Gutless play calling from Sark at the end of the game, which is not something you feel like you ever see from Texas. But like it never looked like Texas was going to win. Like even when they would have the ball down a possession, they would just do nothing with it. Like I don't know, man. I saw a team up and quit on Saturday against Texas. They looked unmotivated. They didn't want to be there. They looked like they knew they were going to lose. Like just bad. They deserve to be unranked. I mean, they have not looked good at all this year. I know
No,
Sark
and we've
came out
talked about it
today.
consistently.
And I know Sark came out today and said like, "Oh man, I want to show you any one of the 135 teams that would go into playing at Florida and at Ohio State and see how they fare." And like that's not a bad point. Like it is two of the harder places to play in college football. But
Yeah, but still.
you lose the credibility of saying that after you look like shit against UTSA and UTEP earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think Texas is a very good football team. They are. kind of staring down the barrel of a gun that they have Red River this week against an Oklahoma team that's looked pretty solid, even with a backup
Hmm.
quarterback, which is would put them 3-3 and 0-2 in conference. They still have to play at Georgia.
I was
They
gonna
still have to play
say,
Texas
yeah,
A&M at Georgia. They have a tough schedule.
yeah. I was gonna say if
And
I'm a Texas fan, I'm panicking, especially because that's your first conference game, and it's against like a team that's like theoretically you were supposed to go in and like have no issue, especially
I
being
don't think
number 6 in the
anyone
country.
thought I don't think anyone thought Florida was going to manhandle Texas the way that they did this game. I think everyone
I
just
know,
kind of assumed that
cause
it was going to
well,
be
cause we just talked about it, almost voting on or almost betting on Florida, and it never like of course that's not gonna happen. But then like I don't even know. I would be like we've talked about the panic button, but like I'd
I'd
be
be
panic
panicking
buttoning if I was a
hard.
Texas fan because if that's your first conference game and you shat the bed, like you're heading into as you just pointed out some hard games and hard matchups, and like you're not gonna be able to handle hard matchups if your first conference game you didn't do anything. It's just crazy and like sucks if you're a Texas fan, but like it's literally what we've talked about of like, damn, that's crazy.
It was about time. We had talked for both of these teams. We had talked about Penn State looking kind of mid in their games against bad teams, Texas looking not as convincing as they wanted to, and we said that that
Hmm.
was eventually going to come back to bite them, and it did. And I mean, that's another thing that I talking about the Iowa State game, where the whole year we had talked about Iowa State doing just enough to beat the team that they were playing, but we said that that wasn't going to work all the time, and then it didn't this week. And I know that like Iowa State was down a lot of players from injury, but like there's so many teams that were in the top 25 and are still in the top 25 in my opinion that have been playing kind of mid against teams they should beat, and it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. So, yeah, rough one for Texas, but not for us who get to make fun of them.
Who have been
Moving
saying the
on,
same thing all season.
we have Texas Tech beats Houston 35-11. Honestly, this was kind of a trap game for them because Houston's been pretty good this year. The game was in Houston.
They
That
showed up.
being said, they showed up, showed out. I'd
Yeah.
say they're easily the favorite for the Big 12, especially after Iowa State's loss.
Yeah. Being able,
And then,
like we said, being able to win the games that you need to win and show up
yep,
like when it's necessary. It's a key, I mean, it's a
which
key skill that you really do need and it saves you in a lot of these
is another
things.
good segue into talking about the next game, which, and we're going to give them credit. Georgia did like, and when I
Solid
tell you this was
performance.
when I say that this was a boring, nothing happened kind of game, that is perfect for UGA. Like no one's talking about anything. Gunnar Stockton threw an interception, but like other than that, great
Happens to
performance from
everybody.
them.
Yeah.
They needed it after the Bama game. Like they just needed to get out there and they needed to beat the shit out of some SEC opponents, and they did. So I have nothing to say negative about Georgia. This is exactly what I said they needed to do last week, which is like, even if Kentucky, because we've talked about it, Kentucky is bottom barrel SEC. Like they are a bad football team, but that doesn't matter. Georgia just needed to show out
Can
there.
impact a, yeah, I was about to say, can impact
Yeah,
the
Georgia
program,
just
give them
needed
like
to get
a
out.
nice boost.
Yeah, needed to get out, get a win, just kind of right the ship a little bit. And especially because they have a rough run coming up at Auburn. We know that that is bad. Like Auburn's okay at football this year, I guess. And Jordan Hare is Satan's fucking bathroom. Like it's everything is like dog shit when you go to play there. So that's going to be tough. They have to play at home. They have to play at home against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss has looked like probably the best team in the SEC this year. Florida is not easy. I don't know if Florida's good again or if Texas is just really bad, but it's a pretty big rivalry game and last year Florida was very bad and Georgia almost lost that. They have to play at Mississippi State, which by the way, at Mississippi State, if I was a Georgia fan, I'd be shitting myself because this looks like
Especially
a
because we've
much
talked
better
about Mississippi
version.
State.
This is a much better Mississippi State team than it was last year and they almost beat Tennessee in Starkville. I don't think Georgia will lose that game, but Georgia cannot go into that game thinking it's some kind of pushover, or they will lose. Um, and then obviously they have Texas, which looks like that's going to be a little easier now, especially because that's at home. They play Charlotte, which is nothing, and then they get the Tech game in Atlanta, which is going to be tough. But all of that to say that this is exactly what Georgia needed to do, which is just win pretty easily against a team they need to beat. Um, right the ship,
Feeling a little
fix.
better walking into Auburn.
Yeah, I'd feel a little bit better walking to Jordan Hare if I was a Georgia fan, but I would also be scared out of my mind if I was a Georgia fan, knowing the type of shit that goes down in Jordan Hare. They've been victims of it. I mean, it's the less known Jordan Hare thing because the kick six exists, but the prayer at Jordan Hare is a thing, and that affected Georgia pretty negatively. So we'll see what happens there. And we talked about it a little bit. We talked about Texas, but Cincinnati beats Iowa State 38-30. Once
Another
again, one of those
upset this
where
week.
yeah, once again, also one of those where the score makes it look like it was closer than it was. Um, Cincinnati looked really good here.
I
I
mean,
think
Cincinnati dominated the first half for
I'd
sure.
rank I'd rank them over Florida State, but that's just me. Um,
Is that what
and
you
we talk.
drop FSU,
I drop
bump
FSU to
Cincinnati in there?
26. I'd bump 20. Yeah, I would switch them because Cincinnati's pretty much in 26 right now. I would switch
Yeah, they have
FSU
the
and Cincy.
most.
Um, I mean, hey, we talked about how Iowa State can only get away with doing their shtick for so long before it ends up backfiring on them, and well, it did. Um, Shout out to Cincy.
Sucks.
And yeah, I mean, a good game for them. It was very. I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's contending for the Big 12, but I also think that the second spot in the Big 12 is just a mesh of like 1,000 teams. So who knows? Maybe they could end up making the Big 12 championship game to be the recipients of the ones to get their ass kicked by Texas Tech. Um, but yeah, Michigan beats Wisconsin 24-10. Okay, good job, Michigan. I
Cool.
guess. I mean, yeah, cool. Notre Dame beats Boise State 28-7. Further implementing that Boise State was really just Ashton Genty and Prey last year. Um, Shout out the Notre Dame defense, who one I had in fantasy this week, so I'm glad that they did well. And two, finally had their first good game of the year, forcing Madsen into 4 interceptions. Um, their offense wasn't incredible, but it didn't really need to be because they had a really good defensive performance. Um, and hey, I know Notre Dame has been the kind of the whipping boy this year for this podcast, but they're starting to round into pretty decent form. I still don't really know if they're going to make the playoffs. They don't play any ranked teams for the rest of the year, and that might come to bite them in the ass. But it's a good start to fixing the season they've had so far.
I mean, after
Um,
we just talked about how they shouldn't be there anymore,
yeah,
but
similar to yeah. Illinois beats Purdue 43-27. I don't know why, for some reason, whenever Illinois plays Purdue, it's like a game of the year candidate every year, but it just is for some reason. They won. That helps IU. Yeah, all right, Illinois. I mean, I think Illinois is kind of fraudulent, but for the sake of Indiana's strength of schedule, I really need them to keep winning. So good
you're
job,
just like
Illinois.
rooting for people to boost the strength schedule for the end of the
Yes, because now that Penn State's shitting the bed, our strength of schedule looks 10 times worse than it should have been at the beginning of the year.
I mean,
And
there's
once
people
again,
you beat.
not our fault. Yeah, I don't know. Um, and then finally, with the ranked matchups, UVA beats
Virginia,
Louisville 30 to
Louisville.
27 in overtime. Good win for UVA. I did not think they were going to continue winning after getting bumped into the top 25. But hey, maybe they're a dark horse candidate for potentially being in the ACC championship game.
Who
Um,
isn't?
Miami and Georgia Tech, I would say, are probably not dark horses for the championship
Well,
game
that's yeah, that's
for
true. But I mean,
playing it.
like we've
And
still
they have
talked
an
about it,
easy
it's not
schedule.
definite because there's
I'm not
still
gonna lie.
Duke and frickin' Duke and
You look, yeah,
Virginia.
UVA. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, let me read you UVA's schedule coming up. Washington State, who is very bad. North Carolina, who is very bad. California, Cal, who's not very good. Wake
Those are
Forest, who's not very good. At Duke, who's kind of decent, and then Virginia Tech, who is very bad.
um did we
So,
talk about the special mention of I hate Clemson very much so,
oh
but they
right,
kicked Bill
yes,
Belichick's ass this weekend,
another
38
game
to
where
10.
the gap between the score margin is bigger than the gap between Bill Belichick and his is bigger than the age of Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
Freaking crazy.
Anyway, um, But yeah, ACC is wide open because like I think if this UVA team is legit, which is a massive if, they don't play anyone for the rest of the year other than Duke. And it's like the same thing when you're looking at like Georgia Tech. Like Tech doesn't play really anyone either.
They're gonna be
Miami doesn't really
sliding into
play.
frickin' they're gonna be sliding in their
We
rivalry weekend like 11-0.
potentially undefeated, yeah. Um, but looking to next week, and man, I picked a bad weekend to go to Universal Studios and miss a lot of these games. Um, don't worry, I will leave my family to watch football.
Wait, are you also on fall
However,
break this weekend?
yeah, I am.
Nice, me
I'm
too.
going to
Wait,
Universal
I'm going to
for the.
Disney.
Oh,
Wait, we'll talk
okay.
after.
We're talking after. Anyway, wow. Okay.
That's actually
Anyway,
insane. Wait.
yeah, that's
Okay.
okay. But rough weekend, I guess. Bama plays Missouri, which is going to be a like. There's so much good football this weekend. Bama, Missouri, banger. I do think Bama's going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. Game of the week, Indiana,
Indiana,
Oregon, which is
Oregon.
going to be
Freaking
in
good.
this absolute cinema. Two high flying offenses, two kind of suspect defenses. I'm gonna say it now. I think Indiana loses in Autzen this weekend, but
Fair
I think we
enough.
lose close. I think this is an incredibly close game.
I mean, I
My
feel like
score
that's not that
prediction,
strange to say.
final score, I'm saying 41-38 Oregon. Like I think this is going to be a tough game for both teams, but I do have Indiana losing, sadly. Um, Ohio State plays Illinois in Champaign, which would do a lot for Indiana if Illinois won that game. I don't think they will, but they'd do a lot if they did. Um, Red River, the All-State Red River rivalry, kiss my ass. All-State Red River shootout. Call it by its real name. But that is less of a game than we thought it would be before Texas decided to fall off the face of the earth, but will still probably be pretty good. Um,
Probably. What if they win? That would be.
if Texas beats Oklahoma,
I would. If Texas
I
beats
would give up.
Oklahoma, I wouldn't
No
know
more red
what to
zone.
say
No
about
more
them.
red zone
I'd be like,
podcast if that happens.
what on earth is this team? Ugh.
No more
What are
red
the
zone if that happens.
rankings? What is a record? What is anything? Like
And then obviously Georgia at Auburn is an interesting game. Michigan at USC could be fun. South Carolina at LSU.
we keep getting
And then
night games, bro.
Arizona at Utah at 10:15 in the Pac-12 after dark slot. Has Big 12 implications on the line. Put in this week on the red zone gauge. I'd give it a solid 8. Yep, that's what I was thinking.
Man,
Great week. We've already given our motivational quote, which is America runs on action.
you
Um,
just got it early this week.
you did get it early, and you got it without us saying it. So, life sometimes just gives you surprise presents. Um, like the one that the two of us found out, realizing that we're both going to be in the
Yeah,
same city this
that's gonna be
weekend.
crazy. Like a
And
hello.
now we have to find a way to see each other. Um, but that was a great week of college football. Once again, if you're Mormon, comment if soaking is real. Um,
Or if you have an in with the Mormons.
or if you have an in with the Mormons, comment if soaking is real. Um, I've been Nate Cohen. What a week. I've
Yeah,
always been joined by my co-host as always.
Marty
And
Davis.
that was the Red Zone podcast, baby. Roll Tide, baby.
Bye.